Flora3D is good for low res and for mid res. I guess we'll call this mid res. You could even call it high res, I guess, but let's call it mid res. So when getting closer, it's getting more like low resy, and you can't really crank up the resolution in Flora3D. So like I showed you though in another video, we'll pump up the segments here. So we got 6 sides. However, it's not enough as far as these cuts. Let's see. As far as these cuts here go, it's not enough. Flora3D can't really upres this kind of bend. It can't smooth out that bend, so you'll have to do that manually. You can use chamfer, but okay, this time it worked, but often you will have trigons here and there, and like here, so that will screw up how it works. So in other words, it will not work. So what we'll do is well, first of all, I guess I should merge this. 3000 points merged, and what I can do, I can either tab it and freeze it, or just tab it without freezing it actually, or I can metaform it. In this case, I'm going to metaform it just so you can see what's going on. But I would probably just sub it so I can bring it into LightWave, I mean layout, and use just use sub-D and displace it with a displacement texture. So here we go. That's this is the original. You can see that's kind of like jagged, and the other one is more smooth. So, and it does preserve the UV, so that's good. Okay, well, you can see though that these guys here are kind of low resy, right? That's not going to show that much though when we get the needles on top of this. So let's see. Well, it doesn't display correctly, but you get the idea. So it's not going to show. So it's not going to be that obvious when these are on top. Another way to kind of upres it is to, let's see, is to, instead of using planes here and textures for these needles, instead of using that, you can model. Let's see if we can see. Yeah, we can model this these needles, and use in layout we can use instancing. It's going to be problematic to use instancing on these two trigons though, so we'll have to merge those triangles. That removes the texture, but it doesn't really matter if it's just for a reference. Oh, one more thing is you could also, instead of just modeling like that, we could also even have instance micro or mini branches. So you could model a branch like that, sort of, and then you could put that model on top of this plane as an instance, and it will look great in for close-ups. Really, really good. Let's see. You might even be able to get rid of some of these guys here. I'm not gonna show that right now, but yeah, just some ideas on how you can go about that. You can also send this to a 3D application like 3D Code and keep on sculpting on this model. You might just want to send over the main branches and the trunk to 3D Code instead of all of them. Instead of sending these small ones over as well to 3D Code. I don't know if that's, I don't think that's necessary. As this is kind of low-rusty, there are also other ways to do it. We could create this over again. There are different ways to go about that. But I think I'm just going to show you this one technique right now, or one way to go about it, or two ways actually, and that is using DP3. That's going to be halfway though, because honestly I do not know. Let's see, I don't know how to use the right settings. Oh, it actually saved the old ones I had. So this is kind of like difficult to tweak. But if you can make a branch, because this is going to be UV'd, if you can make a branch that is good enough, then you can clone that branch and put that onto the Flora3D tree. I'm not quite sure about this. Let's see. I'm not sure if I can get more branches than that. I don't know. Let's turn that to polygon. You know what? I'm not sure how to add more branches, so I think I'm just going to leave that alone, at least for now. But I guess you could make one main branch and just clone it and merge the branch together using meta mesh or something like that. Actually, I guess you wouldn't even need meta mesh, but anyway. So kind of like difficult in this case, replicating those branches that I had. here. One thing I did was, but you know, that should be doable. You should be able to make your own branch and then clone it and delete these guys here and just use those as a reference, and you should be able to have something that is worthy of a super close-up. What I did here was I used 3party tools. I guess I can take this one, do the same thing. So what I did was well, first of all, I think I'm just going to change this for now, like that, and go here. This requires LightWave brush though. Knife. LightWave knife is not going to work. Curve, no. Line, yes. I can't recall. It says in the manual, but I got split. Okay, changing that didn't quite help all that much. Excuse. Okay. If that is so, I don't know why it resets to blue. That's just dumb, you know. That's been a bug that's been there forever. So screw it. I'll just make it blue then. Okay. Knife, split. Hopefully this works. It's quite difficult to see. Use grab. I think I'll use these settings for grab. Yeah, so I think that's pretty good. So you can add detail like that, and yeah, make tweaks. You might come to think of it, just say screw it and sub it and then tweak the result. I don't know. You'll have to decide for yourself how you want to do that. Anyway, the idea here is that you, in the end, take this one, or take all of this stuff, and clone it 8 times around that tree using radial, and cloning it like 9 times or 8 times or something like that. Yeah. But that's for super close-ups. I think I pretty much covered everything. I mean, not in detail, but in rough detail. So well, at least that's it for now as far as upressing. Upressing this kind of stuff is kind of like, it's difficult to find the ultimate technique, so, but that's it for now.